This is Thelma Fjeld-White, the Raw Detox Coach, and I'm here almost every day. I trying to be every day, where I bring strategies on how you can lose weight in a healthy way, without shame, and healthy, like naturally. And today I decided to tell you a little bit more of my story in weight loss, because I believe we all have a story, whether in a weight loss journey or in health journey, and it's important for us to share this story because we might help others, like you might feel connected to my story, but also for us to listen to ourselves, to listen to our story. There's so many things that we can forget and actually not appreciate, like not value really what we've been through, what we have accomplished already. So today, this will be the theme, and I hope you can connect, and if you want to comment anything that comes to your mind, feel welcome, or even ask questions or themes for the next lives. That would be nice. So I have prepared a cup of tea for me. If you are staying long, I recommend you to have something to drink as well, so we can hydrate ourselves. So let's start. A little bit about me, just as presentation. If you're new to this channel, perhaps you don't know much about me, who is Thelma, that is there every day talking about weight loss, talking about health, raw foods and detox, and Pilates. So my name is Thelma. Like I said, I live in Norway, in Oslo. And I've been living here now for about 9 years. Amazing. Time really flies. Originally, I'm from Angola. So I was born in Portugal, but I grew up in Angola, so I feel more Angolan. And today I work with detoxification as a detoxification specialist and also as a Pilates instructor. And I focus on raw foods, plant-based raw foods, because I found them to be the best for optimal health. I also focus in herbs and other therapies that I believe and I have tried that really give results when we are trying to achieve health. And but I haven't been this way all the time, like knowing all this, about health and detoxification and Pilates, or even exercising. That's something new for me. And when I say new, in the sense of I'm 35 years old, so the past, let's say almost 5 years, the past 4.5, almost 5 years was when I actually took control over my health and start taking care of my health instead of taking care of my sickness. So this is the story I want to share with you. Welcome everybody, welcome. So my background is that I grew up as a kid that was always slightly overweight compared to the other kids. So I always heard comments from adults, from other kids, like, oh, you are a little bit fat, or, in Portuguese we have like words that make bullying sound cute in a way. So when you're a kid and you hear these things, you don't take it so seriously, even though you feel it and you don't really like it. So that's, I grew up in this, and I believe also some things in my culture, that in the language sometimes we say things without thinking that we might be hurting the person, but we actually bullying the person. So I only came to learn this much later in my adult life, that actually it's wrong to say these things, because I would also use many of these expressions in my day-to-day. So I've always been kind of standing out a little bit. But one thing that helped me, and I was also told, is that I was tall. Like tall with average, I was tall, and kind of my fatty parts, or was not so thin because of that. But I remember this very well. And I also remember that I loved food. I still love food. But I love food, and I always felt hungry all the time. That's something that I remember. So as a kid, I would eat and eat very fast, and then I would want to repeat the food, because I felt like I was not satisfied. I wanted some more food. I was hungry still. And of course, I didn't know what I know today. That is because, a lot of the food that we eat is actually not nourishing us. So we are hungry. We are eating, but we're still hungry. So many times I was not allowed to repeat the food. Of course, my parents and my brothers, the adults taking care of me, they were worried that I would become obese if I continue that way. But as a child, I have these memories. But I also love to make food. That's something that I grew up with making homemade food. We always had like nice nice foods around. So it's something I was always around food and eating and making and enjoying food. So that's my memory. When it comes to exercise and sports, that's not a strong memory I have. I always felt outside from the sports. I felt scared of exerting myself too much, of getting hit either by a ball or by somebody. I enjoy dancing and other activities, but not so much sport. So it was also not something that I saw my parents or people close to me as role models doing. So I remember at school we were forced to participate in sports, because you would get a mark, and if you didn't, you could fail, just because you were not in the sports. And then of course I would do it, but I was always like the worst person in sports, like no hope. And then I joined some dancing classes and courses, and there I really enjoyed. So I kind of found something else to help me to be a bit active. So yeah, but one thing I must say, as I start growing up, around maybe 9, 10, 11 years old, I start becoming very conscious of my body, of my weight. And I guess also because I've noticed in my mom how she would kind of look at herself, like her looks, and how she would worry about gaining weight and the clothes are not fitting properly. And as a girl, I start reflecting a lot of the same feelings. So I start looking at myself differently. I start seeing myself as overweight and not fitting in. I'm not like the other girls. And of course I was reminded by those comments. And then I start wanting to diet, because that's what I would watch my mom doing. And I really start becoming very aware of that. I need to diet, I need to eat less, I'm eating too much, I'm overweight. And the funny thing is, the things I would tell myself, they were very negative words I would use against myself, as if I'm the faulty one, as if it's my fault that I don't have the knowledge of nutrition, the knowledge of exercise, right? And for a child, that's really traumatic, because, like, what can a child do if the adults are not able to take care of themselves and of the children, like in this nutrition? And of course, this we could go deeper, because again, the adults as well maybe are relying on the wrong sources. So and then feelings like shame start building up on me, because I would notice like how I would look like, how certain clothes would look like in me, plus all those comments I would hear. I start feeling ashamed of my body, of how I looked, and also not knowing what to do, because I tried diets like we would watch on TV, like different people doing diet of this, diet of the soup, so you only take soup. And I was already hungry, eating normal food. Imagine now dieting, I was dying. So of course those diets didn't last very long. And I remember many times I would be doing those diets together with my mom. So it wasn't like my mom was, telling me don't do this, or she also didn't know, and she was also worrying about her own weight as well as my weight. So it can sound very dramatic for a 9-year-old, 10, 11, be dieting and thinking about so much the weight, but that's how it was for me. And then as I started reaching my teenage years, that concerns are growing even more. So I continued dieting, and I tried different things. Like I remember joining a gym for the first time with my mom. We joined and we were so excited. I was so excited, but that didn't last long. I remember we bought like this membership that we could go 3 times per week, and we had somebody showing us, like a personal trainer. But so things start coming on the way, excuses, like time, we just didn't follow through. And again, we were back to that cycle of not exercising and, leaving it some time there and then going back to the same dieting. And I remember there was a time that we tried to diet or to lose weight by taking tablets. That was a very bad experience. We were on a holiday in Portugal, and then we bought some, was supposed to be natural, and we really felt dizzy. It was terrible, and we didn't want my dad to find out. So we just like, oh no, we have a headache and this. Of course, he would be very upset if he found out we were taking tablets to lose weight. That didn't work. We gave up. Was like, oh no, this is scary. But today, when I look back and I think, oh, how far one can go when you want to lose weight, it's really scary, but also it shows that there is something there. There is a need for help, right? For knowing what is right, what is the right thing to do. I'm trying to do something, I just don't know what to do. And then there was a period that we saw a advertisement about a belt, electric belt, that you would put some batteries and you had to put a gel. So you would put a gel around your tummy, because normally it's the tummy you want to work on first, right? And then you put this belt, and the belt is like shaking, giving this vibration that is supposed to mimic abdominals. Imagine. So instead of you going to the gym, you stay home, you watch the telly, and you're doing your abs. You don't have to move. We fell for that. We believed the easy way, the magic pill, and it didn't work. It was just money that thrown out. Um, and yeah, that was a very today I think funny, but it's sad to think about all these different things we tried. And then eventually my mom had the idea to buy a machine to have home, and we believe, okay, now with a machine home, not a how do you call, not the one that you run on, but one that you kind of mimic you are walking, so you move like walking, or you could go faster like you're walking really fast, running. And then we bought the machine, we put it in the lounge, and we truly believed that having this machine there and watching the telly while we are exercising, we didn't do. You won't believe we didn't do. So what was missing? We had the machine, we had the membership, still we didn't go through. We didn't know what was actually underneath that, right? So all these different experiences from growing up, they just compound into like me believing that something was really wrong with me. Like, why can't I keep on a diet? Why I'm always like, going off of a diet? I'm supposed to be on a diet for a certain time. Why I'm not losing weight? So this was like playing, this cassette or CD was playing in my head. Something's wrong with me. And I was also feeling ashamed to talk about both my weight loss, wanting to lose weight, because saying to somebody I want to lose weight was also admitting that I was overweight. And because of all those comments, like I said before, because they did never stop, even as an adult, I still heard many close people saying, oh, you are overweight, you have the body of your dad's family, they are big, and those comments really made me feel bad. I felt like, oh, I don't have control over my body. And then I didn't want to feel that way, and I didn't want them to think that I felt that way. So I start faking confidence. I start faking towards them. I would tell them that I'm fine, I like to be this way, but I knew deep inside I didn't. I knew that I want to lose weight. I knew that I was not feeling great and energetic, and I wanted to be active, and I was very young. That time I was 20, 19. But I had to find a mechanism, and that time what I knew was to fake. So I started faking and looking very confident, and speaking very confidently about myself and about my weight, that people did not believe or knew. They did not know how I was truly feeling inside me by not being successful in my weight loss, but also in whatever I proposed to me. Because when you propose to yourself to lose weight, it could be anything. It could be you propose to yourself to run, or you propose to yourself to make a habit change, not to lose weight, but just to improve your health. It's a commitment you're making for yourself. So when you're not able to keep that commitment, you feel down, you feel upset at yourself. So that's how I was feeling. And then, life happened, and I ended up coming to Norway and moving here. And I was so optimistic because I realized that people here were much more active, physically active, and concerned about the health and, being active. And I truly believe that, being in this environment, that will help me to be more active. And so I tried to keep up, and but was just not successful. I was just going to the same cycle, start, stop, not going through things, and dieting. I try all kinds of diets, especially the last one that I tried was the low carb diet. I don't know if you ever tried, but I tried this, and because it worked while I was on it, I truly believe that was the way, until I realized that was actually hurting me. So the journey continued and then got to a point here in Norway now that I start really feeling sick. So I start getting a lot of pain in my back, my whole spine, started in my upper back, started going down to my lower back. I got sciatic, and then my legs were hurting, my feet, my stomach was not healthy anymore. I was having like some attacks on my stomach, so I had to end up in emergency room. So all of these things start happening at the same time, lack of energy, and I couldn't work anymore like I was working before and being active, and I always been very active person, very social. That started depressing me, and I would look at myself in the mirror and I would feel like, who is this person? I do not know this person. It's not just the looks, but it's how I felt, how I saw myself. I started feeling shame to be myself, to look the way I was looking, and the fact that I couldn't work, that was just adding up to the problem. And now I'm sick, I'm not worth it, so all these thoughts continue playing in my mind, to a point that I just didn't know what else to do, because I couldn't get help. I couldn't keep on a diet or changing my habits. So I made a trip, and on this trip, which was back home, funny enough, all started home. And on this trip going back home, I saw a documentary that gave me some perspective, gave me some context of my situation. And there I learned that maybe the problem was my way of doing things, not me, but what I was doing was not the right direction. So that gave me some perspective, a lot of perspective. I need some drink. And then this documentary was talking about plant-based diet, living, how it affects our health, the environment, and that made me very curious. And that's the thing. If you are listening to this, I want you to be curious, because when we start losing curiosity for life, curiosity for ourselves, curiosity for people, for things, everything just becomes boring and no purpose, no meaning. So curiosity is so important. This curiosity led me to start really studying and going deeper to the root cause of being overweight, to the root cause of being sick and having all those pains I was having. And that's when I made my change. That's when I finally lost weight without struggling, without shame. I remember I could not believe that finally I lost the weight that I had for so many years, but in a much more smooth way, in a way that I was proud of. I was not struggling, I was actually enjoying it. And again, that gave me more perspective, more information. And then I started thinking that, so many women struggle with this, like I did for so many years. We struggle with being overweight, with diets that are crazy, with all these comments and bullying that we hear. We struggle with not feeling worth it because we don't know something, and we don't know that we don't know, right? Like, we're not aware that actually it's because we're just lacking some pieces of the puzzle, but still we blame ourselves, and then that's just like a snowball that adds up to the initial problem. And of course, as we go on year after year with lack of energy and one problem on top of the other, it gets so much more difficult to actually make the change. So I had this insight. I need to tell others. Well, there's many people already coming to me asking me, what are you doing, Toma? You look so different, you're losing weight. And so I started sharing. But then I felt like, this is something I want to share with people. Why I didn't know this before? Why nobody told me about this before? I want to share this information. And that's when I start like really studying and took my courses in detoxification and plant-based nutrition and Pilates and so on and so on, because I wanted to share my story, but in a way that would help them too, and not just sharing experience, but actually I wanted to be enabled. I wanted to have the skills and the knowledge, and the journey just continued. And today, after almost 5 years, amazing, almost 5 years, wow, I still feel that I'm still in the journey, because I'm still learning every day. And I learn with my clients, I learn with my own mistakes, and I learn that the journey never ends. As long as you're alive, it will never end, because you just can get better and better. And what I mean by better and better is just you become a better version of yourself. You like in my case, I start with my physical health, and then I end up working more on my emotional, my mental health, which again made my physical health even stronger, because I was now having these two components, physical, mental. And so basically this is like my story in a nutshell, because I could be here for hours, and there's many elements that I would love to bring in another live, in another setting, for you to share with you. But basically that's how it's all started, and then it just became more easy for me to do what needs to be done. And that's when I want to share with you these 3 things that I learned from my story, that I want you to, if it's the only thing you can remember from today's life, these 3 things are very important. So the first thing I learned is that I can do difficult things. So you can do difficult things even if you don't know. So I didn't know how to lose weight naturally without all those, tablets and electrical belts and, crazy stuff, crazy diets. But I didn't know. And because I didn't know, it felt so difficult, it felt impossible, and because also of bad experiences. So the first thing, I can do difficult things because I can learn. So you can do difficult things if you learn how, right? The second thing I learned is that there's no excuses. Yes, there's no excuses. You need to do what's need to be done. So I needed to do what I needed to do. And I knew what I needed to do once I learned what I knew. Okay, I need to eat healthy. And what is healthy, right? I need to eat this and this, the fruits and vegetables, and I need to exercise, and I need to take care of myself. But I had to do those things. That was the only way. So there is no magic pill. And if you do not do the things that need to be done, you will just not reach your goals or the person you want to become. So this was the second thing I learned. The third thing I learned is that I'm in control of my life, and I can choose what I think, what I feel, what I do, what I say. This third thing is so powerful. Once you connect to this, once you understand that you have this power, yes, you do have this power to choose how you think. It doesn't mean that you always do it right. That's not the point. But you have the power to choose how you think. And how you think, like the average of thoughts. We're not talking about, like I'm talking to you, I'm here presenting. If you've never done a live, maybe you think, oh, Thelma, wow, she can do a live, you need to be very confident to do a live, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, many times I'm here talking to you, I'm feeling very scared. And every time I have to come here, I feel even more scared, because when I'm here already, I forget when I'm, already talking, and I'm really I'm passionate about this topic. So when I'm connecting with you, I'm okay. But to come here every day, like I promised to myself, it's painful. It's really painful. But again, I'm in control of my thoughts, of my feelings, because again, my thoughts made me feel a certain way. So when I think that, oh, if I go into this live, I'm gonna be terrified, I won't remember what to say, I'll just murmur, and then I will feel really bad about this. And if you feel really bad, you start even having physical pain. And then what happened? I won't come, right? So we need to connect to our thoughts. So I have to adjust. No, when I'm there, I'll feel really happy and enthusiastic to be sharing this message, because I know that whoever is on the other side and finds this, because you need to find this not just interesting, you need to find this useful. So if this person on the other side finds this information useful and applies and have results, and improves their life, 1% or 100%, it doesn't matter, that will make me feel very happy. That will bring me happiness, to share, to know that I have helped this one person. So again, it's the thought. So if you connect that you are in control of your thoughts, of your feelings, of your actions, words and what you do, oh, then you got it. But it's something we need to work on. It's ongoing work. I just look at this, always cats passing here. I think they this is their territory, so they just pass by. Anyway, so this was the third thing. And I'm writing my story, or I'm rewriting my story now with this power of choice. And I invite you also to write your story of the person you want to be. Yes, today you have this possibility. You can write your story of the person you want to be in the future, who you want to be. So I hope you enjoy learning a little bit more about me. If you have any question of more like who is Thelma, what's Thelma's story, feel free to send me a DM or just write in the comments below. I will make sure to answer that in another live or just in a short reel, so that you can get to know me better. I also would love to get to know you better, so you can also share your story below, just shortly, and tell me a bit more about what you're going through and what kind of person you want to become. That would be really fun to connect here, to get to know who is here, who is our community, because this is a community. So whoever is following Raw Detox Coach is because you want to belong to this community, and you are very welcome. So that's all for today, and I will tell you now goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, so I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and thank you for being here.